And the best way to have a strong immune system is to eat lots of highly nutritious foods. And the nutrition that we're looking for specifically to keep your cells strong against viruses is, believe it or not, vitamin A and zinc. So zinc is in lentils, and vitamin A is in spinach. So having a little spinach soup with some lentil soup with some spinach in, you're covered. But otherwise, zinc is in all the animals, whether it's eggs or cheese or dairy or beef or chicken or fish. That's all good. And then with a vitamin A, anything a leafy green, believe it or not, is, and anything yellow. We usually think of A as something yellow. In the back, I have a bunch of the Vario One Touch. I was given those in March, and I tried to give as many as I could. I got 10. I think I have 5 left. The test strips are about to expire. I think it's October 31st. It might be September 31st, whatever, 30th, whatever it is. But those little machines, the battery should be good. And if it's not, a new battery is only a couple bucks as opposed to getting a whole new glucometer, which could be $15 or $20. So if you want a glucometer, I can show you how to use it if you want, but I have them there. So contact me if you want some, but that's a good thing. So today we're gonna, from last visit, we talked about incorporating more vegetables in our diet. Yes, this is a diabetes class, but I think the way it's gonna work is the first and third week, I'm gonna go more into diabetes, and the second and the fourth week, we're gonna go more into the meal plan and the nutrition. So today is the fourth week. I wish we could be in the kitchen, but we're not going to be right now. I gave some handouts. The first one is basically the Mediterranean diet, along with 7 ways that we can keep ourselves healthy. The first one is, if you're on medication and the medication's working with you and you like your doctor, continue to do so. The medications are really important. I'd love if we could just go on a fantastic diet and get off of the medicine, but keep to your medicines. And if it's not working for you, your numbers are higher, or you're having GI issues or headaches or whatever your side effects are, talk to your doctor and get them to get you onto a different medicine. And if the medicine is too expensive, you can always first talk to your doctor, get onto something else, or the one that really works for you and you want, talk to the manufacturer of that company, of that medication, whether it's Eli Lilly or AstraZeneca or Sanofi or whatever it is, because they can often get us coupons, and it can bring the price down dramatically. So if you're not comfortable with your price, either talk to your doctor or talk to the person the company that makes your medicine. So keep on with medicines. It's, it is what it is. Monitor your health, whether you're checking your blood sugar, your blood pressure, your GI issues, your headaches, how you sleep, all these things. And if you see, hey, you have, if you take the medicine in the morning, you have trouble at night, or if you take it at night, you have trouble at night, or, you can figure out what part of the day you can take your medicine. It might change how your health is. Also, if you are finding that you're very sleepy, maybe you are not getting enough vitamin B in your diet. That comes from the grains, and a lot of people want to reduce their carbs, so they're not having pasta or bread or grains or anything. Hello, come take a seat. We have some glucometers that I have. They're free samples, but they're about to expire, and then we're just going over this page. Right behind you. Yep. Hi. D is in, nope, it's B as in boy, because we all have masks on. So you want to have enough vitamin B as in boy, and B as in boy. If you're feeling extra sleepy, you might be low in vitamin B as in boy. And there's a couple pills that you can take. One of them is a B complex. It has the 6 different vitamin Bs in it, but the B12, B as in boy, again, this one you cannot swallow. If you swallow it, it'll go right through you. You won't absorb hardly any of it. The key with B12 is it has to go under your tongue, and it goes through the membranes into your blood. And B12 helps us, our red blood cells attract iron so that it can attract oxygen, so it can give iron and oxygen to your whole body. So B12, often people will have, you'll see it on the B12 pills. Oh, it gives you energy, helps your brain, all these kind of good things. Do not swallow it. It just goes under your tongue. It dissolves in, I don't know, it dissolves in like a minute, maybe 5 minutes. And after a couple minutes, if you want to chew it and swallow it, who cares? You got most of it in there. And they're looking at about 2 2,000 micrograms a week. 2,000 micrograms a week. This is for people who do not have animal protein in their diet. So if you are having chicken and fish and all of these things, you're probably good. If you feel tired and the B complex doesn't help you, you can try the B12. But I am not a big person on supplements. As you know, I like whole foods, and having, a multigrain piece of bread in the morning, that might be just enough that you get it, the B vitamins that you need. But if you do have animal protein every day, then you may only need the 50 micrograms. But there is 5,000 micrograms and there's 10,000 micrograms. Those they should be prescription strength. That you don't need to have that much. You should not be spending a lot of money on your supplements. But the first thing is take your medicines and making sure that it's a good medicine for you, and talking with your doctor. Second is monitoring your health. Like I said, if you're sleepy, you might need more vitamin B as in boy. GI, just think about when you take your pills. Some people do better with statins at night. So they'll have their dinner and then they go to bed, and just before they brush their teeth, they'll take their statin and they do better at night. Some people do better with metformin with breakfast, which blows my mind. You think that would be a nighttime thing, but it's different. And same thing with the Lantus or some of the long-term insulins. Some people take them in the morning, because they're good for 12 hours or 24 hours. But take your medicines correctly, monitor your health, keep up with your medical team. This telehealth is covered by insurance now, full amount, and it's very convenient. I see all my patients by telehealth. The first visit is often over Zoom. With your doctor, you might see them face to face every time over Zoom or Skype or whatever your telehealth is. But with me, the second visits are just a phone call. So it's very convenient and very easy. Keep up with your medical team. Your dental, no, your dental, you're going to have to go in there. And they are meticulous. You are safer in your dental office than you would ever be in the grocery store, even here. I mean, everybody is only one person at a time. Everyone else is in the parking lot. They have all kinds of things. So look at the dental. Your eye doctor is once a year. Again, they're very good about that. Your foot doctor, the heart doctor, the endocrinologist, nutrition, hello, it's me. Mental health, we have to maintain this. Now we're going into the dark months, so we have to think about our mental health. Make sure that you get dressed every day. I hate to say this, but I know a bunch of people, they're spending their day in their pajamas. And how does it make you feel? Like you're sick. You're not sick. So try to get dressed every day, look cute for you, all that kind of thing. And when you're getting the groceries, we're only going grocery shopping, every 10 days now? Pick up some flowers. Now the flowers are a lot less expensive. The Astramaria, it just, you wake up in the morning, you see them on the kitchen table, you just feel a whole lot better. But think about mental health, because this is something that we really do, especially with the quarantine, with the election, with everything that's going on in the world. And then this Halloween is when we turn the clocks back. So it's going to be dark at like 5:15, right? So we have to get ready with the mental health. Okay, so the four things are medications, monitoring, keeping your medical teams. Oh, the fourth one is stress. There's ways that we can reduce our stress. Yes, you can listen to music. Yes, you can go for a walk 2 times a day. But in the back of your neck, in the top of your back, you have all these nerves. And for some reason, when you take a deep breath and you exhale and you do that, well, they say 10 times, but even if you only do it 5 times, it does something to the nerves, and it causes us to have more serotonin and calm our down. It can reduce blood pressure. It can do all these things. So it's like 5 deep breaths. I was always thought it was hooey, and then I was in traffic and I did it and it works. So think about stress. We want to be able to sleep well. We want to be able, stress can override a lot of different things in our bodies. So, getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, getting enough fluids, having regular meals, all of these things can increase our stress, and we don't want that to happen. Again, stress is a big part of mental health, and we want to have less of that. We also have to think about what we can be in control of and what we can't be in control of. And yeah, global warming and all these kind of things, it's probably going to happen, but it's not going to kill us. We're going to survive. It's just going to be a different world than it was before. But I hope everybody votes. That's all I have to say. So then we're getting into the fourth one with stress. The fifth one is diet. A big way. Actually, do I have any questions on the Zoom? Let me know. We're talking about the medications and the monitoring and our health, keeping our medical team, watching our stress. Nope, no questions. And so diet. There's a few things that we can do with that. One is have something to eat when you wake up. You want to eat something within 2 hours. That reduces our stress. When our stress is up, our blood sugar is up. When our blood sugar is up, our fat is up. All kinds of things are up. So try to have something to eat within 2 hours. If you're getting up at 6, try to finish your breakfast by 8. That's pretty reasonable. You want to eat every 6 hours. So if you're having your breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning, you'll have your lunch around, I don't know, 1 or 2. Same thing with dinner, have it around 6 or 7, something 5 or 6 hours. That is a really relaxing thing for your body, and it reduces stress and also gives you the nutrition that you need. But you really do want to eat every 4 to 6 hours, not every 2 hours. 2 hours is how long it takes your body to digest. And we want your body to digest and use it and use your energy, and then having something to eat, a couple hours after you finish digesting. That's why I say 4 hours. But if you can do 6 hours, that's great. No snacks or anything. You got to be able to have enough breakfast or enough lunch or enough dinner that you don't need a snack in the middle of the day. And definitely think about whether you're thirsty or you're hungry, because that can be a big you think you're hungry, but turns out you just drank a 16-ounce glass of water. Maybe you were thirsty. So think about the having a glass of water. It is very difficult nowadays to drink what we're supposed to drink. So if you need 60 ounces, that's what, 4 16-ounce glasses of water. I love you're having a sip right now. Perfect. And when you take a drink, try to drink 10 or 12 swallows. I can't do 12. I almost drown. But try to do a lot of swallows, because if you just take a sip, you're never going to get through that bottle. So and also you can put it on a glass at home, and I'll just put like 4 rubber bands. And every time I drink a whole glass, I put the rubber band off. And at the end of the day, boy, I hope there's only 1 rubber band or no rubber bands on that glass, and 4 rubber bands on the counter. And then the next day I start with a new glass, because my life is the same every day, except for coming here on Wednesdays. I really can't tell what day of the week it is. And, it's hard. So having the rubber bands on the glass helps. Let's see. When we want to have the 4 food groups, we talked about that earlier. The food groups are basically the macronutrients. So it's the carbohydrates and the fiber, the protein and the fat, of course, the water. The fiber goes with the carbohydrates, whether it's a grain or a vegetable or a fruit. You don't get any fiber from protein unless it's a plant-based protein. But the animals, their bones don't chip away and give us any fiber, not at all. So whether it's dairy or pork or chicken or whatever it is, there's going to be only protein and fat with that. And I'm talking a lot about plant-based diets nowadays because, one, they're way more delicious than they were back 4 or 5 years ago. They're baking and marinating these things. They're putting them in dishes so that you just have to heat them up. It isn't that white block of tofu anymore. And the recipes that I gave you actually are well seasoned. So if you wanted to do something simple, that block of white tofu, you just get the extra firm, try to squeeze all the water out of it, and make it teeny tiny little cubes. More surface area gives it more flavor, and it's an excellent protein source. You're going to get more protein out of an ounce of tofu than you are of beef or chicken or fish or eggs. And believe it or not, an ounce of beef, chicken, fish, or eggs, the same 7 grams of protein, where tofu is 8. So think about the plant-based proteins. So we got the protein and the fat, they go together, especially if it's nuts. Beans have a little bit of fat in them. So we don't need as much fat as we thought. 4 tablespoons at the most. We can get by with 2, where our brains and our skin and our joints are healthy. So I was saying last year that we needed a lot more fat, and turns out we do not. As with the quarantine, everybody is gaining weight. So now we know 4 tablespoons is like, a quarter cup. But Ann, did you have a question?
Yeah. What if your hair begins to fall out?
Yeah. Um, weakening hair is a sign of stress, unfortunately, and it could be mental health, it could be your diet, it could be a lack of exercise. When we move around, the big thing with exercise, oh, they thought it's good for your heart and your lungs. They're finding it's helping kidneys heal, it's helping wounds heal. So now the doctors are talking more about, being active after meals instead of oh, put a band-aid on it. Put a band-aid on it and go for a walk. There's even some tests you can do. Well, now we never go into big buildings, but it used to, in the hospital, I think there's where you can go up 50 steps. It's like 4 flights. If you can go up 50 steps in 50 seconds, then you know that you have cut your chances of Alzheimer's in half, your heart disease by at least a half, all these health related issues. But it's only a test. It's if you can do it or not. But if you're living in the city and you don't have a car and you're walking around to the buses and doing all your errands. I knew this one woman, she'll get off the bus stop a little bit early, so she has an extra distance to walk. Same thing when they drop her off, she'll go to a shopping center and she'll get off at the back of the shopping center. So she has to walk through the parking lot and then walk through the park. It just gets her the exercise that she needs. And they're really finding it's so much better for your body to do 3 or 4 15-minute intervals of walking around, or brisk walk, as opposed to just getting on a treadmill for 60 minutes. The 60 minutes kind of stresses your body and you don't get the benefits of every 4 times a day. Well, maybe you have 2 events and it takes you 15 minutes to get there and 15 minutes to get back, and you have whatever your class or your event or something. So that's a good way to get in your appropriate exercise. And again, like I said, it's for healing, and all that kind of thing. But with the hair specifically, yeah, it could be that your diet is low in fat. Maybe you aren't getting enough. Uh, well, it could be nutrients, but it could also be enough water. But think about listening to music and taking walks and taking deep breaths. But I will say we all have COVID hair. I recently donated mine. I'm just getting used to having it. It used to be, a good length, and that was a mess. And I will tell you, I think I got it done in Labor Day, whatever, right after that. And I hadn't had a haircut since December. So you can just imagine that hair. So, everybody's hair you see all the people on TV and their hair just doesn't look quite right. Yeah, that's COVID hair, people. So, but with COVID, we're also not exercising as much. We're not getting outside as much. So, that hair is a good example of how our health is doing. Is there any other questions? Do you have? Um, the way you figure it out is you take your weight and you add a 0. So if you weigh 200, you're going to do 2,000 and then divide it by 30. So whatever your weight is with a 0 on the end of it, divide by 30, and that's how many ounces you need. And that is just the bare minimum. But if the only thing with having extra water is now they're looking at kidney disease, and they used to think, okay, so if you needed 60 ounces, let's give them 120, or let's give them like a 90 or 100. It blows through the kidneys. You can't do that much. So if you only need 60, you can tolerate 80, but don't go extra. I'm seeing a lot of people with kidney disease right now. I don't know why I'm seeing them, but it's delightful. And we're looking at potassium and salt and all that kind of thing. But the biggest thing was water, and they were always saying, hey, drink as much as you possibly can, just clear out your kidneys. And they're finding it's too much. Just a little bit more is fine. So we talked about eating every 4 to 6 hours. We talked about the carbs and the fiber and the protein and the fat. Don't skip your meals. That's hard on your body. If you know that you're going to be busy, bring some apples and peanut butter, or peanut butter and multigrain bread, or some grapes and some nuts. Just something to let your body know that food is coming in like another 6 hours. But just have a little something. I have a guy who wakes up, has coffee, and then he does yard work all day, and then at 6 o'clock he sits down and has a huge meal. He's gained so much weight, and it's because his body is stressed all day. This is how the sumo wrestlers gain weight. They don't eat anything until the nighttime, and then they sit down. They also found that our digestive system works so much better when the sun is shining and we're up and moving about. If you're gonna try to lose weight by not having much for maybe you're going to skip breakfast, have a little tiny lunch, and then sit down and have a big dinner. Your body can't take it. And the one thing that it will digest, the carbohydrates, the protein and the fiber and everything won't really, it'll just kind of go through you. But those carbohydrates, they'll stay. So watch out for that. Let's see. So we're talking about the carbohydrates and the fiber and the protein and the fats. Eat within 2 hours of waking up or before exercise, because some people will have lunch at 12 and then they go to the gym at 4. So have a little snack before you go to the gym. You can do more at who is going to the gym right now? Nobody. So if you are, oh thank goodness. You just went this morning and everybody's wearing their masks, right? And it's safe. But everybody's in. Yeah. Yep. Cool. Oh, swimming is the best exercise. It is so good for everything but your hair. But yeah, if you can get a hot tub, also increases your circulation. That helps with healing. But yeah, if you know you're going to do yard work or you're going to go for a walk or whatever, make sure that you have a little something. Especially if you have diabetes, your blood sugar can go down. And if you're going to go on a long trip, you always check your blood sugar before. We've talked about that before. But definitely don't go to the gym on an empty stomach. It has to do with hormones. When we wake up in the morning, we haven't eaten for 6 or 7 hours, hopefully. And you didn't have anything in the middle of the night. We have a ghrelin hormone fat. So if you have a little bite, it puts us in the leptin mode. Like you can leap around. I don't know why you call it leptin and ghrelin. The ghrelin is when you're hungry and you haven't had anything. Leptin is when you have had something. And in the leptin mode, that hormone, we can burn fat and we can build muscle better. It's all kind of great things. If you know that you're going to be physical, try to have a little something beforehand. Unless you had lunch, within 2 hours ago. Like, if you had lunch at 12 and you're going to the gym at 1:30, you're in good shape. If you're going at 2, you're probably in good shape, but I would have a protein bar or, some granola, like I said, apple and peanut butter, something like that. Being active after meals, and I was saying being active, it takes about 15 minutes for your blood sugar to come down. When you first start exercising, your blood sugar will actually be up. It takes all the sugar out of your muscles and your liver, and it just floods your bloodstream so you can do what you need to do. Then after about 10-15 minutes, it's burned it all through, and you reduce your blood sugar. And then the last thing is, with exercise, you want to do cardio and walk around, but if you can do resistance, that really makes a difference also. You want to build muscles. Muscles are the fountain of youth. Today is so weird. I do not have my conversation map, but on the other days that we come, we have the conversation map about diabetes. So we just have these little handouts. So nutrition, with the medications, the monitoring, the medical team, the stress, the diet, exercise, and sleep. Really just some people only need 6 hours. Some people need 8. The average is 7. Pretty much most people do really well with 7 hours of sleep. I have a guy, he sleeps, the way his life is, he sleeps from 1 to 5. He gets 4 hours at night, and then he wakes up by himself, no alarm or anything. And then in the afternoon, he sleeps for like 3 or 4 hours. So believe it or not, he's upset he's only getting 4 hours sleep at night, but he always has this 3-hour nap, and it's from like 7 to 10. It's almost nighttime. So you really just need 7 hours a day, and that just helps your body rebuild itself, helps your brain, helps your stress, all kinds of good things like that. We want to keep the room dark and cool. You don't want to have the TV going while you're sleeping. Most people don't do well that way. They don't get the deeper sleep that they need. Everybody's a little bit different, but if you are having sleeping problems, try not having any blue light, whether it's your phone, your computer, your TV, like a half an hour before you go to bed. If you can get outside in the darkness, that really triggers your brain to want to go to sleep better. But the big thing is exercise. And if you're sedentary all day long, then we're always having trouble sleeping. And I'll tell you, I've heard so many people, they qualified for sleep studies now because with quarantine, we're just not walking around as much as we normally do. So, so think about exercising. And I am not a fan of exercising. I will just confess that right now. And in April, when we started all of this, you go to YouTube and you try to find some exercise, and it's like P90X and pump you up and all this crazy stuff. not now. They have chair exercises for people in wheelchairs, and they're doing all these kind of things to the pop tunes. There's a generation of Black ladies who I absolutely love. I can't think of the name of it, but it was a grandmother who's in her 60s, a daughter who's in her, I guess she's in her 50s, so maybe she's her late 60s, and then the daughter who's like in her 30s. They're in the cul-de-sac, and they're doing music from all over Africa and the islands. So it's all kinds of really rhythmic and just, it's not your standard squats and push-ups and burpees and all that kind of thing. It is just so much fun. But take a look at YouTube now, and they break it down. Even in yoga, you don't have to do an hour of yoga. You can do whatever you need. And they have it in like 10, 15-minute blocks. So if you have a few minutes and you got the YouTube, and you can put it on your laptop or on your phone and do something that is always going to be beneficial, because like right now, exercise is tough. Okay, so it's been about a half an hour and I've talked about nutrition. Does anybody have any questions about I gave you a lot of information. I'm stuck to this thing. Yeah, Ambler Nutrition is my company. It's amblernutrition.com if you want to talk to me personally. And I break down things to see what you've been doing. I always find out what you've been doing and find small steps to get into a healthier routine. Absolutely. All these things that I've told you, don't try to do 5 things in a week. Just take 2 weeks and try to pick one. What is the most important thing? And work that into your lifestyle. If you want to make sure you go to sleep. Okay, now one woman, she loves TV. She sees people in the evening, and then afterwards she wants to watch TV, and now she's going to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and she has to answer the phone at 9 and all these other things. So there's no clock in the TV room. So we're just starting with, okay, you're going to go to bed by 12:30. And that way she's up by 7:30 or 8, and she can be ready for her 9 o'clock calls. But a silly thing like putting a clock in the TV room. So think about, if there's any way that you can exercise, go for a walk. Maybe you have a dog or not, but just going around the block after breakfast or going, after dinner. Dinner is a really good one. That helps you sleep and everything like that. Okay, so other than this little triangle page, I've got a couple recipes. Because we can't work in the kitchen. Let me just check. Does anybody out there have any questions? Let me know about nutrition and the food groups and eating and drinking plenty of water, which I forgot to do. And Ted has a question.
I'm looking at different cereals, and I'm not going to all these now. But say if I just go to Giant or, in fact, it used to be that there was like a special K type cereal they had, or something that it was something, and I can't find it anymore. It was.
Yeah, there's you're asking about good cereals to have.
I like Raisin Bran, or I like Life cereal, or something. I'm staying away from. I like Cheerios, but
So cereal in the morning is mostly carbohydrates, and we want to have the carbohydrates and the fiber. There's very little fiber in a breakfast cereal, even if it's oatmeal. Carbohydrates and fiber, and the protein and the fat. The protein and the fat you can do with the milk. Either do the 1% cow's milk, you can do, or 2%, whatever you like. You can do soy milk, that has protein in it. And if you're going to have cereal, even with oatmeal, I would recommend the soy milk or the cow's milk. The nut milks, even though nuts have protein, they don't have any protein in them. And we want to have some protein in the morning. The best way to start out your day is with protein, whether it's going to be, tofu scramble or a protein shake with a pea protein powder, or if you're going to have the cereal, it's Special K protein. There is another milk out there. It's called Fairlife, and they have filtered out the lactose. So that's the sugar in it. So it is less sugar, more protein. It's concentrated. It's like 13 grams of protein instead of 8 or 12, like what soy and cow's milk have. So that's the protein is the milk. You can also do it with Glucerna or Nepro if you have kidney disease, or any of these protein shakes like Core Power is a delicious protein shake you can have with on your cereal. And the cereals that are high in protein, there's really just two. Well, there is 3. One of them is Uncle Sam. Have you heard of Uncle Sam cereal? Man, that has got the fiber. I think it's 15 grams in a half a cup. It is twigs and sticks, absolutely, but it's dark brown and it's very crunchy. It's called Uncle Sam's, but that one, it's good functionally. Taste-wise, The second one is Cashew So Cashew now, they have different proteins right on the front of the box. And if you're going to use a half a cup or a cup of the Fairlife, that's 13. Say you wanted 10 to 15 grams of protein, you could go with 9 grams or 10 grams of protein in the Cashew. But if you're going to have soy milk, then you would want more like the 16-gram Cashew, Kashi, Cashew. It's a whole bunch of different grains that have been popped, like corn is popped to make Rice Krispies. So it's a lighter cereal, but it hasn't been popped too much. So I let it sit in milk for a little while. Adding a couple nuts to it, like some pecans or ground walnuts or something, that will add a little bit more fat to it. That, just a little bit, like a tablespoon of it ground, a couple of nuts. No, not 2 nuts, maybe 4 nuts would be fine. Peanut butter if you wanted to. But like I said, the protein shakes, and okay, so we have the Uncle Sam's, we have the Cashew protein, and it'll say what protein it is. 16 is the highest for Cashew. And then the Special K is Special K protein, not the Special K berries or Special K whatever generic. And for some reason, it's always on sale at Giant, and it's 2 boxes for $5. 2.50 for a box of cereal. It comes and it's Special K protein, and there's 2 ways. It's a flake or it's a little nugget. I find the nuggets are a little harder, but they taste great. They're both cinnamony. They have like a cinnamon flavor. But that if you're going to have a cereal with a milk, so that covers your carb, your fiber, a little, it goes your fiber, not too much fiber though. The milk has the protein and the fat. I would highly recommend adding some berries to it, whether it's raspberries or blueberries. You're looking at a half a cup. Blackberries are actually pretty good right now. I'm not a big fan of blackberries, but they're not tart. They're really good. Blueberries are coming back and they're still good. Strawberries, cherries, grapes, any of these. The berries are little bombs of nutrition. They have great fiber and great nutrition. So I usually count those as a vegetable. Vegetables are lower in carbs than the fruits. The simple carbohydrates that your body can absorb so fast and can raise your blood sugar, whether you have diabetes or not. If you have high blood sugar, your liver knows it, and your liver wants to save your life and save those nutrients. So if you have a food that immediately raises your blood sugar, the liver will trap it and save it as fat. So if we can block the carbohydrate from going through your intestines right into your bloodstream with protein, fat, and fiber, that means having a meal before you have. So if you're going to have spaghetti and meatballs, for example, have a few bites of the meatballs with the sauce before you go into the noodles. Okay. And looking at having noodles that have more fiber in them instead of the regular Muller's. A bunch of them are high fiber now. And now you can even get it made with red lentils. Those are pretty good. They have a good texture. They have a good amount of fiber and a good amount of protein. They're pink and they're little swirls. So you can get them at Trader Joe's and Giant and ShopRite. I think Barilla makes them. I've even seen them at Aldi's. I know you're not going to Aldi's. So look at Aldi. The only thing with these grocery stores is, oh my God, there's so many people in there. Find out what time they close and go a half an hour before. Nobody's there, and the help is helpful. They want you out of that store. So you can't find the sunflower seeds. Oh, what are you looking for? Let me help you. And you're in and out and you're done. So take a look at what time those stores close and go in a half an hour early. But yeah, for the breakfast cereal, I would rather you have a protein shake with, peanut butter toast and some berries. Put the berries in the protein shake if you want to. That's a good one. Again, look at these tofu scrambles. There's some Mexican ones, and you put some salsa in there. Oh my gosh, they're delicious. And high protein. There's a breakfast sausage called, instead of Jimmy Dean, it's called Gimme Lean. And Gimme Lean comes in a tube. You cut off the plastic and slice it up and put it in a fry pan with onions and peppers and all this. And you could do some greens in there, maybe cabbage. Also potatoes, if you happen to have some potatoes left over, chop them up, put in there. You just need 1 potato. You're not doing a whole pan of potatoes, just a little bit. Boy, that really makes a great breakfast. And with that whole tube of the Gimme Lean sausage, it makes 4 meals of 20 grams of protein each day. So you're going to do it, and then you can have it again 4 times that week. So something to think about.
That's put out by Jimmy Dean?
No, it's put, the Gimme Lean sausage is put out by Light Life. Light Life. Yeah, it's got like a red logo.
I kind of looked for it last week in the grocery store, but I was looking at the Jimmy Dean, thinking it would be there.
So yeah, the Gimme Lean sausage is not in with Jimmy Dean. it's not in with any of the sausages. The way that they're doing this, most stores are doing, is these plant-based proteins are in the tofu section. Sometimes the tofu section is in with the vegetables, and sometimes it's around the corner in a cooler with the organic, all that kind of stuff. But I have seen Beyond Meat and Impossible Burger are in the ground meat section at Walmart. And where else? And at Wegmans, and I think also Whole Foods. I don't go to Whole Foods. I don't know that store very well, but I have seen that they have plant-based proteins in the coolers, and it's labeled that. There's a whole aisle at Wegmans, and you can get a curry dish, you can get, meat and potatoes, with vegetables and gravy. It can be already made up, or you can make it yourself. There was one kebabs for already seasoned. The tofu and things, but so that's good. Is any other questions? No? Okay, it's quarter of. I can't believe time is flying so fast. Okay, so let's go over these recipes. We have, the first one is on the Mediterranean diet. Just so you know, the Mediterranean diet foundation is being social with people. So don't be a complete hermit. Call your friends. The bulk of it is plants, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of grains, a lot of vegetables. Look at the frozen vegetables, the canned vegetables. The canned beets now are fantastic. I mean, I put them in a salad. You can even warm them up on a cold iceberg. They're really good. But the vegetables, grill them up, put them in the freezer, whatever you want to do, but add those. The protein is best if it's a seafood because it has a lot of omega-3, anti-inflammatory, a lot of iodine for our thyroid. And at the top of the triangle is the dairy and the cheese and the eggs and the chicken and the beef and the cake and the wine. Once a week, that's fine. We don't need to have a lot of that. Okay, so on the other side is veggie meatloaf. I figured out how to make a really good meatloaf. It does not stay together like a slice as well. You can add a couple eggs if you want, but I find it really doesn't help it. But it is delicious. It's made, as you can see, with a food processor or the blender, an onion, a carrot, the celery, the sweet peppers. You can get those frozen and chopped already. And then cabbage. It is really good. So this is a very vegetable-y meatloaf. And then in the fry pan, you saute all those things up, and then you add the plant-based protein. So it's either the Beyond Meat or the Impossible Burger, about 16 ounces, and the Smart Ground. That's going to be a tofu mix. And sometimes they're Mexican, sometimes they're chorizo Spanish sausage, sometimes it's just traditional, tastes like ground beef. But those Smart Ground plant-based proteins, they're made out of tofu and they taste great. Anytime you're doing a meat sauce or you're doing ground beef on like different casseroles and things, the beauty of the plant-based, no fat, or maybe 1 gram. And that will help us lose weight. And it turns out when you eat food and there's some fat in it, whether it's fried chicken or a pesto with oil, that fat goes into our bloodstream and then it goes right into the insulin receptors. So here we are trying to, burn this sugar through our veins and get it into the cells. Nope, the fat blocks it. So that's why I'm saying watch out for the fat. Don't have too much fat in your diet. It's really hard to maintain your lower blood sugar with that. And when we have high blood sugar, the liver makes it into fat. It's the worst. We are determined, this body is determined to stay alive, and there's so many tricks to it. So that's why I'm pushing the plant-based proteins. 1, it's easier on your pancreas, and 2, it makes your insulin receptors recept. So that's good. Yeah, you mix it all up. You brown it all in a pan. You mix it all up. If you want to add a couple eggs, you put it in the loaf pans. I usually do with paper because then I can just lift the whole thing out. It's not as messy. The parchment paper. You could put ketchup or barbecue sauce or tomato sauce, whatever you like on your meatloaf. Put that back in the oven and cook that up. And it's great on a cold salad, the hot meatloaf on a cold salad. It's great, with some noodles. If you're going to do more of the Mexican flavor, you can make sloppy joes with it. You can make anything with this. So I just wanted to give you the veggie meatloaf recipe. The second one I can talk about is the green soup. And that one is any kind of greens you like, but you got to add the onion and the leeks. That's what really makes the salad. You can add, of course, the garlic helps. I have on there rotisserie chicken or the diced tofu, and dice it teeny tiny, because who likes tofu? Not me, I'm so sorry. But it is good in this vegetable broth. And the vegetable broth that is the most flavorful is in a jar, and it's called Better Than Bouillon. And there's a vegetable one, there's a mushroom one, there's a low sodium vegetable one. Little short jar called Better Than Bouillon. If you get the bigger jar, it's expensive. But I've seen them at Aldi's, I've seen them at Wegmans. And it's not always in the broth section. It can be in the seasoning section. Yes, they had it at Aldi's once. You know, Aldi's is not reliable, you know, unfortunately. But yeah, and I saw it in the cooking section, like with the spices, not in the soups and the beans. But Aldi's has great bean soups, and you just add more vegetables to it. A thing of broccoli in with their white bean is really good. Yeah, so this soup is asparagus and spinach and leeks. You can add cauliflower or broccoli, anything you want. And put a little Parmesan on the top. And if it's already either tofu or cooked chicken, you know, it's ready as soon as it comes to a simmer. You want to have the asparagus, maybe 5 minutes to make the asparagus not so crunchy. But frozen broccoli, frozen anything can go in that soup. On the back, we have a curry sweet potato peanut soup. But sweet potato, I feel, is very pasty. And I'm not a fan, and I don't like having to peel it, and it's just a lot of work. But if you are a whiz or you have sweet potatoes at home, you can definitely do it with that. It's high in fiber, high in vitamin A, a lot of nutrition, a lot of fiber in that sweet potato. But you can also do it with butternut squash, and butternut squash you can already get chopped up. So you know, you cook some onion in some oil with some garlic, add some shredded fresh ginger, a tablespoon of curry, and 2 tablespoons if you like it spicy. There's a sweet chili sauce that either comes in a bottle or in like a little paste that's got a kick, but it's still sweet. If you want to add the serrano chili with the seeds removed, go ahead. Sweet potato or butternut squash, about a pound of it. 3 cups of water and a cup of coconut milk. The light coconut milk, boy, with the curry is just so delightful. I add 3 tablespoons of peanut butter, but you could do the peanuts in there and then use the blender. But I just like put peanut butter in it, and then a can of white beans. We also put cauliflower in here, just add more vegetables to it to make it more of a, I don't know, I like my soups lumpy. So we'll do that, and it makes a lot, so you can freeze it. When you're serving it, you can add a little lime to it, or sprinkle some parsley, put some seeds on it, whether it's a sunflower seeds or the pumpkin seeds, any kind of seeds are great. But this is a meal in itself, and you can see, yeah, it has 350 calories, 37 grams of carbohydrate, but the protein is 13 grams. And I believe it's a cup. Yep. So that's a delightful recipe. And again, you make it and you put it in little sandwich bags in the freezer, and then you can heat it up whenever you want. But the beans and the peanut butter really make the protein in that, and then that can of light milk. Yep. Sure.
We're in the middle of pumpkin season.
Oh.
That means we have seeds to burn. Pumpkin seeds are really great.
They are.
The pumpkin itself, not if you don't burn candle for hell on that, but pumpkin itself is really a good substitute.
Yeah. So the question was about substituting pumpkin because it's Halloween and having pumpkin seeds toasted on the top. That's a great idea. I think some pumpkins taste better than others. I know that there's a smaller pumpkin. Yeah, the little sweet pumpkins are great, but if you wanted to roast some pumpkin first and see how it tastes, yeah, absolutely. Instead of sweet potato or the butternut squash, all 3 of them are full of nutrition. When you do carve out your pumpkin or your butternut squash, take that orange pithy stuff off it. If you want to rinse the seeds, that's fine. Just put it in the toaster oven in a little pan, a little spray, a little bit of salt, maybe crazy mixed up salt is a good one, or the Mrs. Dash or the lemon herb, any kind of salt, whatever kind of seasoning that you like to have. Garlic and onion is really good. I think it's like 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. With the butternut squash seeds, they go faster. It might only be 10 minutes, but the pumpkin seeds, it's at least 15 or 20 minutes. And they're fantastic, and so much fiber and magnesium, protein, all kinds of really great things. But seeds on a hearty soup like this is a great idea. And then the last one I have is, oh, it's a salad, quinoa kale salad. So quinoa is like rice, and you would make it 1 cup of quinoa in 2 cups of water, bring it to a boil, maybe a pinch of salt. And that takes about 20 minutes. During that time, you got the kale, take those ribs off of the kale and you make it into like 4-inch pieces. And then you just take your hands with a pinch of salt and you just massage the salt into the kale. It makes it look like it's cooked. You can't believe it. So then you've got also some olives, the big next thing. So you did your quinoa, that's cooking. You're ripping up your kale, you're massaging it with the salt. And then the third thing is you take a couple of avocados, you dice them up and sprinkle with the lemon juice and mix that all up. And then you put that on the kale, and then you add the quinoa, and then something crunchy, whether it's cucumbers or radishes, and something salty like the black olives that are sliced. My kids are like, I am not eating any kale salad. That is the grossest thing. It says here 1/2 a cup. Good luck having only 1/2 a cup. You easily can have 2 cups of this stuff. It is so good. And when you first make it and it's warm, the warm quinoa and the warm kale, you don't even know there's avocado in there. It is just such a great recipe. Actually, I think I saw this on TV once, just a blurb. Oh, here's how you can use avocados. And I have improved it. The olives, you could put feta cheese in here if you wanted. But there's, if you wanted to put the pumpkin seeds in there, something crunchy. But the olives, they just give enough of that little bit of salt with that sour of the lemon and the avocado, and then the warm pastiness of the quinoa. I do not like kale, but this salad is fantastic. And then the last one I have is just asparagus. Ooh, it's a little bit before 1. So asparagus, I have 2 methods here, the traditional preparation or the quick method. And I don't know if you guys realize, but I am always about the quick method. But traditionally they would take the asparagus. So when you're looking at asparagus, you don't want the tops to be mushy or wet or any of that. That's the first step, that it's been there for too many days. And the second is, if you look at all the stems and they start to have a long wrinkle in there, then that also shows that they're not fresh. But now I am seeing that it looks like they're fresh again. So I don't know where they're coming from. But definitely asparagus is a spring plant. But we can get it now. But this is a good recipe for it. And when you take your stems, yes, you can just trim if you want, but you always end up getting some of that fiber. So what you can do is, where you think it's going to be the difference between fiber and not fiber, bend it. And wherever it really is fiber, that part will break off. So I have here, you prep your asparagus right here, trimmed. Don't I say? Oh, here it is. Under 1 pound of trimmed fresh asparagus, purchase 1.5 pounds and snap off the coarse stems. So yeah, you just take the bottom of it. Some of it might not, you'll be completely green. So you'll just go at the very bottom. You can snap off like 1/4 inch, and that will be that fibery part. But you know where it is white, that white is really fibery. So you go just above the white and you bend it, and it will snap right where the fiber part is. And I hate to throw away asparagus because it's so expensive, but you can use it for stock if you wanted to. But when you get a mouthful of that fibery asparagus, no thank you. So trim your asparagus with the snapping method. You can do it really quick. It's way faster than a knife. And if you wanted, you could cut the asparagus into 1-inch stems. They cook faster. You can eat them better. Or if you want to keep them long, you can blanch them, like they say here, boil them for a couple minutes, put them into ice water, rinse them off, let them marinate in this olive oil, orange juice, balsamic vinegar, water, Dijon mustard, some salt and pepper, and some garlic. Let that all sit together for, well, they say something like 2 hours on here. That's not happening. So the quick method, you snap your asparagus, you drizzle it with a little olive oil and salt and pepper. You put it in the either toaster oven at 400, 450, or you put it on the grill on like a pan, so it can get the oil and make it nice. You only need about a teaspoon. If you do a tablespoon, that's great. But if you can get it to spray, either do the non-stick olive oil spray. 4 seconds is a teaspoon, or if you can just drizzle a teaspoon, mix it up, that's a good thing. That goes on the grill for about 5 minutes, and then you put in the marinade and let it cook for another 5 minutes. And boy, it is really good. The orange juice just balances the balsamic, and adding the water, otherwise it's really tart with the balsamic and the Dijon mustard. But if you didn't want to do anything and you want to keep that asparagus flavor, just the salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic, that is another great way to do it too. So don't feel you have to have all those ingredients. Actually, they had 2 tablespoons of orange juice concentrate. I don't know if any of you guys could have that in your freezer. If you do, hallelujah, but nobody's drinking juice anymore. But we are putting oranges in our water, that kind of thing. So that's a good idea. So we went through we went through the soups. I think we covered everything. Is there any questions, anybody? This is a lot of information today. I'm so glad to see everybody. No, we don't have any questions. Okay. And so the way this is going to work is the first and the third weeks, I'm going to concentrate more on the diabetes and the medications and ways to reduce our blood sugar and just live a healthier life. And maybe I'll talk about the medicines and the problems if you do have high blood sugar, but I will always talk about food. And do you want me to bring a recipe every time? Does anybody care? Yeah, you like that? Okay, I could do that. And then we have the conversation maps. The first week is about general diabetes and blood pressure and cholesterol and all that kind of thing. But we'll talk about a recipe. And then the second week, we'll talk about meal planning. You had a question?
Yeah, do we have to call in every time?
Unfortunately, yeah. So just call and say, I'm going to be at every one. No, do whatever you want. I would love to see you all every time. But yeah, just you can do more than 1 week, I believe.
Okay.
Did she say that? Did she tell you? Okay, because I had a few people that said they had to register, but not for this week, it's for next week. And I think, in November, just if you can be here Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm going to be here. We don't have plans.
We won't be here that day.
Okay, yeah, I might have the class because we don't have any plans. Oh, nobody's doing anything. We're not seeing my folks. We're not seeing my husband. Oh my gosh, my husband's folks probably are coming over, but I'll be happy to be here the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So yeah, and we'll just do so. The first week is general nutrition, diabetes. The second one is meal planning. The third one is avoiding complications with diabetes again, and then the last one is going to be a lot more cooking because I want to get back to the kitchen. I would love that. So whatever we can do. I think that's going to be the third. But if you have questions about medications, I can always, anything quick. But everyone needs to be well medicated. That's right. That's right. So I hope everybody enjoyed the class. If there's I love your suggestion about talking about recipes, more ways we can get vegetables in there. If anybody else has, if there's a vegetable you want to use, hey, you guys. There's all this research is coming now. And honestly, I have more time to look at it. There's a lot of research about artichokes and cancer medicines. And they're finding that artichokes are about as effective. No other vegetable is like this. The artichokes has certain enzymes and certain fibers. So take a look at Aldi's or wherever you are. They have marinated artichoke quarters, and having a half a jar or a whole jar if it's a little on your salads. It's great with beets. Sometimes the outside leaf of those quarter things are a little rough, so I will eat them and then I'll just put the rest in my salad. But look at having artichokes on your salad. Look at I've mixed them with green beans. Makes it super fancy. Little Italian dressing. You had a question?
No, but I saw an emerald this recipe for take a small fennel bulb and you slice it.
Mm-hmm.
And you take a week.
Yep.
Cut it up to the green.
Yep.
And you saute that with a clove of garlic.
So it was leeks, the white part. It was the fennel, the white part, and then a clove of garlic, and you saute that up.
And that's all you do to it.
It's fantastic. And in the summer, when you get those big fennel bulbs and you don't know what to do with them, they go great with onions and zucchini. So you just slice them all up and saute them in a pan, especially the Vidalia onions. I love the fennel with the Vidalia. The fennel smells like licorice, you guys. But when you cook it, it's nuts. It tastes like nuts. It tastes nutty. I should say nutty. It's not nuts. It's what? It's lots of great fiber. Yeah, it's like a green. It's really wonderful. Any other questions or ideas? I could do some more when we're getting for November and December. December, I might talk about treats, like dark chocolate bark with some cranberries and different things like that that are more nutritious. Peanut butter balls with Rice Krispies and dark chocolate and things like that. So, but if anybody has any special requests, write to me on amblernutrition.com. That's my website. If there's any comments you have, I would love, if you could put a comment on my website, that would be so great. It really helped me out. And like I said, I'm doing personal consultations again. I have been doing them through this whole quarantine thing. If you want me to find out exactly what you're eating and what we can tweak for your personal situation, I'm happy to do that. There's no fee. I just bill your insurance. If your insurance doesn't cover, there is a fee, but we can talk about that. But almost everybody's insurance covers at least 3 hours the first year. And then the second year, it's 2 hours, whether it's commercial or Medicare now. Sometimes Blue Cross will give you 6 hours depending, but we can figure it out. I have a great biller and we can figure it out. But it's really good to see everybody. Have a happy Halloween. If you're going to eat the Halloween candy, have it right after dinner. Don't save it for when you have an empty stomach. It's just going to increase your blood sugar, and whether you have diabetes or not.